Going to be resuming our lesson on Google Docs. One of the things I like about Google Docs is because of its formatting. You will see what I mean in just a second. Now, as we resume our lesson, we will go to our docs that we created in the last video. It's the first Google Docs. And as you've seen, I've done some writing. And what I mean by formats is the way the words are written. Let's say, for example, you don't want it this big. You can keep it as, let's say, heading 1. Or, if you don't like that, you can keep it as heading 3. And these are the styles. Over here, this is just normal text, but you can change that by highlighting it to something else. Let's say we want it as heading 4. Now, if we don't want it this way and we want it to be just the exact way we imagined, then we don't need to pick from just this. As you can see, heading 4 uses Arial, and we can change the font. Let's say we want this to be very stylish. We can use a font that looks more like cursive, such as, let's look for a very fancy font. Okay, let's just go with Lobster. Looks pretty fancy. So now it'll just change into Lobster, the font Lobster. But let's say we just want one word to be different from the others. We can change that too, and it'll work the exact same way. Another thing I want to show you is the font size. Let's say we need to write a 5-page essay, and we've written enough, but it looks really small, like this big. And we need it to be at least 5 pages, right? We can just change it to a font size bigger, like 24, and it'll work the exact same way. Now, another thing, and we can do that with one word as we did with fonts too, such as this. One of the other things I like about formatting in Google Docs is that you can do other things to the words. But for without bold, this is how the word will look like. Now you don't see much difference, but in other things, like let's change it to this. This isn't in bold, but whenever we put it in bold, the letters become thicker. And if we put it in italics, then the letters will lean sideways. If we want it to be underlined, it will be underlined. And if you want something to stand out a lot, then you can change it to a different color. You can also custom it to, let's say I like the color teal. I could choose this color. And you can also swing this around too. This is one of my favorite features. Okay, and now it'll turn into teal. The next thing I want to show you is the other types of formatting. As you can see here, there's a whole entire place for format. What I've shown you is all over here. But these are other things many people don't know about. I myself have learned about this just the other day. And strike through basically does this. It can be used as various different ways if you want your teacher to show if you want your teacher for you to see how you worked out a problem. Then let's say you're doing order of operations. You can show that you crossed something out and replaced it with something else that does not have the strike through. Another thing is the superscript. Now, you might be thinking, what's the point of superscript? But if you want to write a number, wait, what is wrong? I'll change it back to let's write a number 23. And if we want to have an exponent, let's say 23 cubed. But we can't really write it like that, right? So we can change it to a superscript, which will change it into an exponent. And in chemistry, whenever there will be a term called subscript. You can also change that to a subscript. So if we're writing a compound, H2O, we can't necessarily write it like that, right? So we can change the subscript 2 into how the subscripts are supposed to look like. Finally, and this is my favorite thing, as we highlight this, we can change it into a link, or as many people call it, a hyperlink. We can, as we do that, there will be many websites that will pop up, and if you want a website that you looked at, let's say, I'll just search up a website. This will take a long time. We can highlight this, control paste it, and insert it into here. Now you might be wondering what I'm doing, but as soon as it does that, it'll change into a color, and you can also change the color. I want it yellow, but as soon as you click on that, it'll open up to the same thing as this. Well, that is it for today. I hope you use Google Docs in the future. Okay, and we are done. Oh, 1 second.